just to give you an idea, the first one to the top left, it's a new to be developed area. Actually, they are going to reuse the water they use for the sewage system. They are going to reuse the heat out of it, and they are looking on how can we put in such an environment, in a new built environment. How can we ensure there is storage on a district level? And what we found out in that perspective is that when doing such a thing, you do need a lot of data in order to get the demand side management really working. And it's not easy to have a real data broker inside a system, because that needs to be a trusted party, and we are looking into projects. How can we ensure that the data is transferred to the data manager without him knowing where the data is coming from? So to ensure the privacy by some encryption schemes in order to obfuscate the originator of the data. To the top right is actually one of the largest connected areas at this moment in Flanders. It's the Torpark. It's the home space for Energyville, which is a large research group inside Flanders. It's a campus which has around 2,500 people working on it, divided in 5 different spaces, and all their energy management is governed from a central room inside the Energyville space. There has been put a lot of emphasis on the demand side management and on the real-time data in order to allow that they have quite of a microgrid operation without any interaction with the distribution system operator. It's not really necessary to call it like that, but it's from research perspectives that they try to be off-grid as long as possible. To the bottom on the left is actually a large industry zone. It's an existing zone of around 72 companies who are turning into an energy community. It's an old zone. It dates from the 70 years, 1970. And we are trying to figure out how many data do we need in such an environment to create a viable business case. In the sense that we are now using it as an energy community, but it's not sustainable from a data point of view, in the sense that the data transfer is too much in order to make it a real live business case. So there is a project going on. How can we optimize the assets of that business park? How can we optimize the number of solar panels that we need? What is the best investment to do? And how can we optimize the data transfer in order to make it sustainable for further developments within Flanders? And those kind of insights then we use in new projects that need to be started at this moment. This is one near Ghent, the last one. But as you can see, there are a lot of exciting things going on. And that was my last slide, so if there are some questions, please free to ask them.
Just, I want to add that we are the stand, so C110. We have 15 members that we have in our clusters, so at Belgium ecosystem. So come, just eat chocolate in the morning, drink beers in the afternoon, and we are over there with our companies, so come along. Just
So you heard it here. They're going to take good care of you at the stand if you visit them. Are there any questions for this presentation? Because I have a question, because you're working in Flanders and in Wallonia both. So how do you join your efforts, or is it difficult to work together in 2 different regions?
Our 2 regions are like it's like 2 different countries in terms of legislation, in terms of a lot of things, but we still believe that we want to create some links between our players, links between our projects, because all the things are related. The technology are the same. When you bring some digitalization IoT system in one microgrid project in Flanders, it's the same in Wallonia, it's the same in France, it's the same in Italy and other countries. So we have to bring, and as a cluster, we are bringing all the clusters together And I think we have to at least have a view at the European level. And what we are doing with at least 20 other clusters, and a lot of them are today in the conference, and we are working with all these clusters to bring all the players together. So I think we have to be at least at the country level. It's the minimum size.
And what support do you need at a higher level, from a European level?
We have a lot of opportunities. We have the Horizon 2020 program. We have we have a lot of opportunities in Europe to work together. The challenge is more to work with other countries outside Europe. But to make innovation in Europe, we have a lot of potential. So I think when we have two companies in two different countries in Europe, we have at least one program that we can use to help them to make one single project. So we can help them because we know all these programs in the clusters. Yep.
But I do think that if Europe can help with something, it's by putting some harmonization into things. What we do see is that the way European legislation is translated, or European directives is translated into local legislation, doesn't make it easier for the companies. And putting some more guidelines on how that translation might happen, and giving some ideas on transnational cooperation on that one would be quite helpful. So I think that when it comes to cooperation between companies, that's on a quite high level. When it comes to cooperation between the regions and between different governments, I think there's still a lot of room for improvement over there.
Thank you. Okay, thanks everyone.